Hi, and welcome to Freshwaves. I'm your host, Bren Masson. Today, we're going to be talking about thinking outside the box for Christmas this year, or the holidays. We're going to talk about different ideas of gift giving, things that you perhaps haven't thought of before. We're going to be talking with Susan from the Oak Ridges Moraine Land Trust about how the Land Trust works, and how you could potentially donate to the Land Trust. And we're also going to be talking with Forest Ontario, an organization that maybe some of you haven't heard of before, but it's directly in our neighborhood here in Stouffville. And Forest Ontario, of course, is something that'll benefit everyone who lives in Ontario. We're going to speak in the next couple of weeks about things that you might not have thought about for Christmas gifts. And, you know, there is that nice thing about bringing a bottle of wine, perhaps a bottle of fruit wine. That's different. If you want to stand out in the crowd, perhaps fruit wine is something that you might be interested in. We'll talk to Matt Passafume about that. So these are some of the outside of the box, unusual things that we're going to be talking about for the Christmas season. Thanks for joining us today, and we hope you enjoy this show. Hi, we're now speaking with Susan Walmer, CEO of the Oak Ridges Moraine Land Trust. We're going to be talking about wonderful things that we can do for the holiday season that are a little different. Instead of taking a hostess gift of a bottle of wine, which is always a nice thing to do, don't get me wrong, but how about doing something a little unusual, or an office present, or a present for a relative that has everything and doesn't need another knick-knack to put on their shelf? How about some interesting gift giving this year? And you guys came to mind because I know that you're a charitable organization. You can donate to the Land Trust, and let's talk about how you can do that and how you can do it on someone's behalf.
Wonderful. That sounds great.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the Land Trust and what it is.
Sure. So the Oak Ridges Moraine Land Trust is a charity. It's been incorporated since 2000, and it protects lands across the moraine. Now, a lot of people think, well, the moraine's already protected under the legislation. But as we all know, legislation can change, and we've had a recent example of it changing, and now, because of public pressure, changing back. But there are still lands all across the moraine that could have additional protection on them, and that's what we do. We can either purchase those lands, people donate those lands to us, or in the cases of other people, we could put a conservation easement on the land that protects all the significant areas on it.
That sounds really interesting. So is there a chance that your land could ever fall prey to what happened with pieces of the Greenbelt this year?
No, it couldn't. We have been under various situations, had expropriation calls with the government. And in every case, when we have talked to the developer or the province, as so be it, if it might be a bigger project, the Federal Ecological Gift Program, which is at the federal level, has deterred them from going further. So we've actually been very successful in protecting all of our lands from any type of expropriation.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell us.
Not just once, several times. So if it was a one-off, I'd say, oh, okay, it was one time. But no, there's been several times that the protection placed on title and the federal level has deterred expropriation from going forward. They've moved roadways, they've changed their plans, and we've been able to protect the natural features.
That's amazing. That's really something to be proud of. So if somebody's donating to the Land Trust, they can rest assured that the lands that they are hoping to protect will be protected.
Absolutely. And our newest property that we protected this year is a large property, 196 acres in the Ganaraska, abutting the Ganaraska forest. And it is being restored with various measures to protect it and provide more habitat for other species at risk.
Isn't that interesting?
Big project out there.
So it's not just the land that you're protecting, it's the creatures and things that exist on that land.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got habitat loss happening and urban sprawl and various environmental changes that have, taken a toll on the natural system. And so what we're doing with this project, and there'll be many more like that, I imagine in the future, is to conserve the protected areas and then restore the habitat for species at risk.
Wow, that's fantastic. So how does someone donate to the Land Trust?
Sure. So they could go to our website, to the oakridgesmoraine.org give page, and there's a number of different options there to donate. Now you press the donate button. You can send your check by mail to the Oak Ridges Moraine Land Trust at 5595 17th Side Road, Schaumburg. You can call us by phone at 905-939-3333. And, we can take it from there. Or you can call us to talk and we can figure out if you want to make a donation of shares or securities. And we've had a number of those coming in lately where people are looking at, their retirement packages and looking as they're changing their options, investment options. And we have been getting gifts of stocks and securities. So we can also handle that aspect.
Wow, that's something I would never have thought of before.
Yeah, and like I said, we're getting more and more of those over the last couple of years, and it makes sense from a perspective. I won't get into the details, and people need to talk to their investment advisor, but for many people, it makes sense to do that rather than cashing them out and having to deal with the gain on them. So this is a good way for them to be able to donate and also gain benefit from it.
Wow, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
So what if somebody would like to donate towards a specific project? I know that, people have a warm spot in their hearts for those little warblers that are potentially going to be coming to your new property, the Kirtland warblers, or people say, well, I want this to go towards the restoration project and planting trees and wild flowers that are pretty. How do they direct or can they direct their funds towards a project?
Well, this year, both of those are in our year-end appeal and will be on the website. So part of the protected areas and expanding it will be for the whippoorwill, all sorts of various eastern hognose snake, the mottled dusty wing. There's bats that are on this property, warblers, painted turtles. So this project is all encompassing in terms of both protecting areas and also restoring species at risk. You can make impact, and your gift will be matched. We have 3 donors who've contributed $25,000 to a match, so your gift will double your money when you're doing that. And there's a number of different options. So if you want to give $25, a $25 gift will plant 5 native pines. If you want to give $100, there'll be 100 hickory tree nuts. $1,000 will seed an acre of land with native wildflowers. So we've, got options there for people as well to see specifically, if you put in a certain amount, there's going to be action that's going to happen on this property and other properties that we own.
Wow, that's fantastic. Who knew?
Well, we put a lot of thought into making sure that people feel they're getting value for their donation. We treasure every donation, and it really does make a difference in what we do from a monetary perspective, but also knowing that people support what we're doing. That's the reason we're in the world we are in terms of environment and working in this field. Most of the people in this field are very, very committed to making the world a better place from an environmental perspective, making sure that all of our friends and critters out there in the wild are cared for and have the right habitat to live on their own. So that's part of what we do as our mission. And certainly it's part of why I got involved a number of years ago was, to protect the Oak Ridges Moraine and Greenbelt.
Mm-hmm. Now, if people are not from this area, there are other land trusts in Ontario and across Canada, are there not?
There absolutely are. So they stretch from literally from coast to coast. And we have now an Association of Canadian Land Trusts where they can go to their website and see land trusts across Canada. We have an Ontario association as well, Ontario Land Trust Alliance, and they can go to that website and see land trusts that are across Ontario. And yes, absolutely, all of those land trusts do similar work and are charities. So you can donate to the charity of your choice to protect land at Christmas time.
Wow. I think that's unbelievable. I think it's fascinating, the work that you do. So are there ever any opportunities for people who have made a donation to go and see some of the lands?
There absolutely are. So we have several different packages. During the winter, we typically have our education program running in webinars. So again, at our website, they can go to the website and they can find out all of the various webinars that are coming up and things that they can become involved in. So there's lots of opportunities for them to do that. And in the spring, in the summer is typically when we do our property visits, so people can come out and hike some of our properties with us. We don't have our properties open to the public, but we do hold events on them, and we do a lot of planting. So if you want to come out and learn how to plant a wildflower garden, we're doing that on several of our properties, and some of them are looking spectacular this year after a couple of years of growth.
Wow, that's fantastic. So you could actually make a donation and then potentially turn it into an event, whether it's a family event or just an event with a friend, and go and learn about planting good flowers, natural flowers in your habitat as well as in the moraine. It sounds like a win-win situation all around.
Yeah, it is. And I think there's, various opportunities for different ages and families and seniors. We do have, programs that are more geared to seniors. So they might be a different type of hike on a different type of property, and various things like that are gauged to the area that people might be interested in and their abilities. So we try to be as open to all of that and to provide those safe spaces for people to come out and enjoy nature, but also learn. Once you do make a donation, you will actually be on the mailing list, and so we'll be sending you periodic. We try not to do that side of it, but periodic notices about different events that are coming up in webinars. So you can come out, or you can sit in the warmth of your home over the winter season and learn about nature, and then come on out in the spring and the summer when we've got the events happening on the properties.
That sounds wonderful. I like the webinar thing with a warm cup of tea and an hour or so spent learning some interesting things.
I do too. It's a wonderful way to sit and like I said, stay cozy and learn at the same time. And I'm astounded. We on some of our webinars get people from all across Canada and the States and overseas who've picked up on them and come on to the webinar and learn. So it's a wonderful forum.
Wow, that's fantastic. And you're so fortunate to have Aileen Barkley as part of your team.
Oh, absolutely. She is just a fireball of energy and knowledge and enthusiasm. And she brings it to the Land Trust, to the webinars, to the staff, and to our volunteers when they're out on the property. She is just a wonderful, wonderful person. And we're so pleased and happy to have her with our Land Trust. As we do with our other staff and board members, but Aileen is the sparkle.
Yes, she sure is. And if anyone's interested in how their donation may help the Kirtland Warblers and anything about that project, you can go to my YouTube channel at Freshwaves Radio and listen to the interview that we did with Aileen specifically about those little birds and the project and that 196 acres. Congratulations, by the way, Susan. That's a fabulous, fabulous project and initiative.
Thank you so much. And it could only have happened with all of the, our donors, both large and small, and all of our partners. There's a number of people that are partnering in that. And it's very exciting to see it take off this year. And we'll keep everybody updated as it goes forward.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and talking to us and shedding some light on yet another fabulous Christmas holiday season gifting idea.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Brenda. And Merry Christmas to all.
And to you as well. Next up, we have another unique gift idea. As we said at the beginning of the show, this one is from Applewood Farm and Winery north of Port. And Matt Passafume has wonderful fruit wines. They also have Applejack, which is kind of like a jacked apples bourbon. Who knew? It's a fabulous, different, but unique Christmas gift for those who have everything, or seem to have everything. Perhaps they don't have some Applejack. He also has the standards, a family favorite of ours, the Macintosh apple wine, which goes terrific with turkey. He's got blueberry wines, all kinds of different fruit wines. He also has some unique things that they've done this year. Let's take a listen and hear what Matt has to say about the new things at Applewood. All right. So do you have anything new in the wine industry since the last time I spoke with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we've been pushing into moonshines and liqueurs, so the higher alcohol, having a little bit of fun with that. We have something called a Sweet Lola, which is a strawberry liqueur, as well as a blueberry grunt. And so blueberry grunt is actually an East Coast dessert.
It is, because I had some in Cape Breton last summer. I was there at this time of the year last summer.
So delicious, right?
It is really good.
But we named it after that dessert because it's very blueberry. It's very lovely. But it's also the sound you make after you've had a couple of them. It's the grunt. But it's a fun one, and it's really caught on. And yeah, we've in the vein of blueberries, we just released last week actually a wild blueberry cider in a bottle format. So it's like a champagne. Mm-hmm. And that's bottled at 10% alcohol, so it's a little bit stronger. Our draft is only 5%, so this is double that. But it's a lovely, I'd say, light meal, or better yet, even appetizer type wine.
Right. Okay. That sounds fabulous. Now, if you have these fruit liqueurs, as you're calling them,
yes.
Do they last like regular liqueurs? I mean, I've had a bottle of limoncello in my fridge for, I don't know, 3 years, and it's still fine.
The limoncello is a little higher alcohol, so that helps.
Okay.
These ones, when I open up one of these, I'd say a couple months in the fridge is totally fine.
Okay.
Much more than that, it's going to dissipate a little bit, lose a little bit of character, but yeah, you'll get a couple months open in the fridge, no problem. The one that I would say is the longest lasting by far is our mead, which is a honey liqueur.
Right.
And it's made with just purely honey, and it doesn't go into the bottle till it's at least 5 years old.
Wow.
And yeah, we really hold on to our meads, and it seems to really pay off. We have we have a huge following now. It's funny, when we first released mead, people looked at us, honey? They didn't know you can make wine out of honey. And now it's becoming one of our key sellers.
Wow, isn't that interesting? Applewood Farm and Winery north of Port is at 2055 St. Field Road in Sunderland. So you can just go and Google them, Applewood Farm and Winery north of Port, and see what they have. Take a trip up there. It's a lovely drive in the country, beautiful scenery, and what better way to spend a Saturday afternoon than going for a drive in the country and stopping in to get some fruit wine so that you have the most unique gift possible this holiday season. We're going to take a little break now, and when we come back, we'll be talking with Jess at Forests Ontario. We'll also bring you a special feature about teacher gifts. All kids want to give their teacher something wonderful for Christmas, but we will hear from a school teacher about some of the wonderful things that they would like to receive, like a donation to their favorite charity or the favorite charity of your child. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss any of these unique gift ideas. This is Fresh Waves, and I'm your host, Bren Masson. Hi, you're listening to Fresh Waves, and I'm your host, Bren Masson. If you'd like to hear any of this podcast again, you can go to our YouTube channel, Fresh Waves Radio. Hit subscribe. We love to have subscribers, and you can find all of the past broadcasts and podcasts there on our YouTube channel. If you have a story that you'd like to share or a subject for a future show, drop me a line. Bren at freshwaves.ca. We love to hear from you, so any suggestions are appreciated. We're going to get right back to the show now, so stay tuned. Our next guest is the CEO of Forests Ontario. Forests Ontario is a charity, so you can donate to Forests Ontario. They have events, they have all kinds of fun things. And Jess, who is the CEO, she's going to tell us all about it. Good morning, Jess. Welcome to Fresh Waves.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, we're really thrilled to have you. I think Forests Ontario is a wonderful organization that people seem to not know too much about. Tell us about your organization. What do you guys do?
Yeah, so we're a nonprofit charity that are really focused on increasing forested landscapes to sustain biodiversity, healthy people, and a healthy economy. And so how we actually get that done is we deliver that through several programs, including our restoration efforts, where we get trees in the ground with our planting partners, our education programs where we engage young people in learning more about our forests, and through our community engagement programs where we get people outside really understanding why trees and forests are so amazing.
So do you own your own forests, or do you manage forests that already exist somewhere?
So what we do is we actually work with private landowners mostly. We also work with municipalities as well as conservation authorities to either restore forest cover, so working to find places to get more trees in the ground, or working to promote the benefits of stewardship through, engaging with landowners and saying it's important to take care of your trees, look out for invasive species, here's how to manage your woodlots. And so we do that through workshops. We do that through our magazine that we provide to our members. So really, we're more about engaging people who are on the landscape or own land and stewarding the forests for the benefit of all of society.
Wow. I'm located in Stouffville, and I'm near the York Regional Forest. And there are many, many, many residents who back onto the forest or are just down the street from the forest on forested properties. It sounds like your programs would be a really good thing to enroll my neighbors in.
Definitely. I mean, we've been really great partners with York Region overall over the past few decades. And just in the past 20 years, we've planted over 900,000 trees in the York Region area. And this year, 58,000 trees alone. And so, we're really working to deliver that community level impact. And so the trees that might be backing on, or you might be backing onto in your own backyard, may have been planted through our program. Or we work with the municipalities and the partners within your area to ensure those trees remain healthy and getting people engaged and understanding why they're so beneficial. There's this really important connection that we need to create between us and nature and us and forests, because they provide such a huge list of benefits for us, everything from improving our mental health to improving our physical health. Forests are just amazing, and, the more we have, the better.
Well, I agree with you 100% there. Now, when we talk about a natural surround, are grasslands also a part of that restoration? Like natural grasslands?
Yeah, so people might not be familiar with the fact that a large part of southern Ontario historically had a lot of grasslands. And so us as an organization, we also run a program called Grasslands Ontario, and it's really focused on finding ways to restore that natural grasslands habitat. And so what we do is we work with landowners to really put the right type of restoration effort in the landscape. So in some cases, that might be grasslands instead of trees, or it might be a combination. We're really trying to create restored landscapes that help to benefit biodiversity, help to benefit the local community and the local environment. And so being able to look look at land and go, what is the best thing to put here? What historically existed here is really important, because that means it'll maintain and be successful into the future.
Okay, now when you're talking about grasslands at a person's house or where they're located in a community, you're not really talking about a lawn, are you?
No, what we're talking about is really like tall prairie or tall grass and, prairie species. And so, our team went out to a beautiful grassland site just a couple months ago, and the landscape is stunning. It provides this beautiful color. It also provides really important habitat for birds and important habitat for, species of insects. And also when grasslands are growing, they store a lot of carbon within the soil. So it's really important for climate change. So it's not your typical lawn that you would mow. It's more of like a field kind of approach, and it's really stunning. It's a beautiful landscape.
And then the grasses that you would want people to be planting if they're going to try and restore their grasslands would be native grasses to this area or to the area that they happen to be in.
Yeah, and I think those are really good questions when you're going out. I would say for trees or for grasses is to always look at, is this a native species? We as a society have a really important impact on planting native species and making sure we're not including invasive species that could impact the local natural environment. And so whether you ask questions where you're getting it or you look into how do I get native species that are from my area, for ourselves at Forest Ontario, we really believe that when we're doing our tree planting projects in particular, that we look at everything from seed to planting. And so we work with seed collectors across the province to look for ways to bring in native seed into nurseries and then grow stock from that seed and then put those trees back out into the landscape. Because we know that when they're native and when they're locally grown, they adapt and they perform better.
Well, that would make sense. It's just, to me, it seems like it's a matter of education. So you guys offer a whole bunch of programs, don't you?
Yeah, so when I think of education, I think of two things. So there's education, which is the formal education in the classroom. And so we offer programs like resources for teachers to bring the discussion of forest and the environment to the classroom, to competitions like Tree Bee. We actually had one in New York Region just this past week where young people learn how to identify trees and learn about the benefits of trees in a friendly competition, to competitions in high school where it's all about building those STEM skills and those environmental education skill sets and knowledge amongst high school youth. And so I would think of that's formal education. And then there's the kind of the informal and the community engagement piece. So whether that's getting people outside just to connect, getting them to understand the benefits, providing them with some facts and information about why it's so important that these natural landscapes incur and the benefits to us. And so we do that through events. We do that through participating in events or running our own. We do that through our social media, for example. We do that through our magazine. And so it's really that education or that communication piece talking about why forests and trees and our natural landscapes are so important. So really for me, we've planted over 43 million trees over the past 20 years, which is impressive. But if you don't have a society that cares and really advocates for and promotes the importance of forests, we wouldn't be able to do that restoration effort. And so we see it as a really unique and intertwined system where education, community engagement leads to increased restoration on the land.
Well, when you say Forests Ontario, are you doing these programs in Northern Ontario as well?
We do our tree planting efforts and our education efforts all across the province. We are very lucky to work with amazing partners that are helping us to get trees in the ground or helping us to run those local community engagement or education programs. So everything from southwestern Ontario to the northwest of Ontario, we've been able to create impacts in landscapes and have a really large reach. We also even work beyond Ontario through our Forest Recovery Canada program. And so that's our way of reaching into other provinces, finding ways that we can help to, share knowledge, build out the programs that we've developed and expand that work. But we still have done the majority of our work in Ontario and have really valued partners that we want to continue to build relationships with.
Okay, so if someone donates to your organization, what would you do with the donation? I know there's a lot of charities right now and people they get inundated in the mail with things and they just don't even know which one to start with. So if they donate to your organization as a Christmas gift for a relative or a friend who seems to have everything, where do their dollars go?
Yeah, so as a charity, people's support really goes to us being able to deliver our programming. And so that includes our restoration efforts, our education work, and our community engagement work. So your donation goes right into program delivery. So whether that's trees getting into the ground, at this moment in time, we're very fortunate to receive some government funds to plant trees, but we can't do that without a matching effort from donors. So every time someone donates, you know that your impact is matched by government support to get more trees in the ground. And so we are really looking to find ways to bring donors in and supporters in to increase our impact overall. We have a really big goal of planting more and more trees over the next few decades, but we won't be able to do that without our donor support. It really provides that foundational support that we need to run our programs and deliver the work that we do. Also, we can think of things like we have a very, very positive relationship with York Region in delivering community engagement, education, and our restoration efforts. So they know that when they're donating to Forest Ontario, it's helping to establish and deliver those programs locally as well.
And I would encourage anyone who has never been to one of those programs to check them out. They're a lot of fun and really informative.
Yeah, and I would say, I think some people can feel intimidated when it comes to nature or getting outdoors. And so finding local ways, whether it's an event or whether it's a walk or whether it's, someone who's just giving you a brief introduction to nature is a really great way to spark that, passion for the environment or even just, sparking some sort of curiosity. And so what we really try to do is find ways to connect anybody to the outdoors and provide, accessible ways for people to feel connected, because we know that sometimes it can feel a little bit daunting that nature is, not familiar to someone. So working to make sure it's as accessible as possible and creating that connection for people.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about your community tree planting. Because sometimes I think, oh man, the last thing I want to do on a Saturday afternoon is put on a pair of boots and a jacket and go out in the rainy weather and start digging in the dirt.
But you know what's funny is when you describe that, I go, that sounds amazing. So for me, it's very different. I mean, for myself, I grew the passion I have for what I do because I went tree planting, more specifically in Northern Ontario. But it wasn't until I really got that connection between putting something in the ground, getting dirty, seeing my own impact, that I fully understood it and created that passion. So I would say our community tree plant programs provide that local connection for people. And it might be the first time that someone even, plants a tree. And then after they go, that was really cool. I want to learn more. So again, it's about that piece of sparking curiosity and getting them to go, this is interesting. I want to learn more about why I'm even doing this. I want to learn more about the impact. I want to see this tree grow. And the unique thing with community tree plants is because they happen in that local community, and if someone's living in that local community, they can create that connection and see that plant grow over time and, see themselves grow over time. And so it's a really nice way to get that local community impact. And also for us, it's a great way to bring in local businesses. So, in the past when we've done community tree plants, we also look for ways to get local businesses to support the initiative and for them to connect with their own communities. And so I would say if there's ever opportunities for local businesses to get involved, to reach out, because we're always looking for new ways to do more community programming.
And that's really cool. And I was just kind of being tongue-in-cheek because every time I've ever done any tree planting, it's always a lot of fun. You meet your neighbors. Oh, yeah. You don't care if your hair's a mess because, you got other things to worry about. You're shoveling your tree. Exactly. And it is so cool for children to come back when they're teenagers and say, wow, that's the tree I planted.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be a generational trip as well, because when they have children of their own, they can bring their kids and say, look, this is the tree I planted, and today you're going to plant a tree.
Exactly. Like I have a 3-year-old, and when he was born, the year he was born, we planted a new tree on my front lawn in Toronto. And for me, it's like every year I go, this thing is going to grow just as much as he is. And, it's this memory attachment to go, when this happened and this was an important moment, and I'm getting to see it grow as he grows.
Yeah. It's a nice landmark, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, so it says here on your website that 1 acre of Christmas trees produces enough oxygen for 18 people daily. Now, that's something that people don't often think about, is the amount of oxygen that is produced by trees.
Yeah, I mean, Christmas trees and forests alone provide a lot of benefits. And, as we're heading into this, this continuing impact of climate change, on our landscapes and our own actual physical and mental health, trees provide a huge benefit to mitigating climate change. So carbon sequestration, oxygen production is one way. Trees also help to cool the earth, and so with transpiration, they help to really reduce the air temperature, and so that's why it's so important to have more trees in urban or near urban areas. They're also really critical for cleaning water, and so, instead of having water treatment plants, looking at natural ways to help clean and restore our water resources. They're also really critical for biodiversity. I mean, you can take a walk in any forest and you can hear birds and little critters crawling around. You can probably see insects everywhere. So forests overall are really important for a variety of benefits. When we think about things like Christmas trees, real Christmas trees are really, really valuable for us because they provide that landscape feature that, sequesters carbon, that helps to clean the water, that helps to provide oxygen while they're growing. And then when they're used in the home, they provide that beautiful smells in the home and that beautiful look that you get from that natural Christmas tree. Then afterwards, many municipalities will take those trees and turn them into mulch, going back into the earth and providing additional benefits to trees within the urban environment. Then you know that where these trees are coming from, when you cut them, there's always replanting happening for those future Christmas trees down the road. And so it's really a cyclical process, and it happens decades after decades. That can happen with artificial Christmas trees. Those, that connection or those benefits we receive doesn't necessarily happen through an artificial tree.
No, you're right. And the trees are, let's make it perfectly clear, you're not going into the York Regional Forest, picking out a tree and cutting it down. These Christmas trees are grown on farms, basically farms of trees. Yes,
exactly. And if you haven't done it, I would highly recommend visiting a farm. It's a great family experience. It's wonderful and fun. Whether you cut your own or buy one there, or you just visit it and then get it wherever you need. But, those trees are really coming from local environments and local communities, and they're supporting local jobs as well as they're growing, as well as you're purchasing those trees. There's benefits that go right directly back to your own community. So yes, please don't go into your local forest and cut a tree. Definitely work through a Christmas tree farm to find what's appropriate for you, or if you're a landowner, you might have access to that. But really think about where you're getting your tree from, and it's a great way to bring that Christmas cheer or holiday cheer into your family home.
Terrific. Well, how do people get a hold of you and how do they donate?
The easiest way to do it is to visit our website, which is forestontario.ca. There's a donate button right at the top. You can also check us out on any social media and follow the links right to our site. That's the best way. If you don't want to use the website, you can also give us a call. We're happy to have a conversation and talk to you about a donation through there. But really, we value the support of our donors, and you're helping us to do the important work that we really need to do, and so we appreciate every donation.
And what's your phone number?
416-646-1193. You can start there and find someone to talk to right from there.
Okay, that sounds terrific. Thank you so much for talking with us today. We really appreciate it, and we hope that people who are listening will make a donation to Forests Ontario. It helps in so many different ways, and we really appreciate the work that you and your organization do to help our forests.
Thanks so much for having me.
Next up, we're going to change topics. Instead of talking about what you can donate for Christmas or the holiday season, we're going to talk about things that you can give to teachers. Joining us in the studio now, we have Angela Smith. She's a retired elementary school teacher, and Angela's going to be helping us figure out what are the best gifts for teachers. Hi, Angela. Welcome to Fresh Waves.
Hey, hi, Brenda. Great to be here.
Well, we're going to talk to you because you are the voice of teachers. Being that you're retired, you can speak freely, and being that you have so much history as a teacher, and we've come through all kinds of different times. I think there was a time probably when you first started teaching where everybody was almost the same religion. There was hardly any variation. Now there's all sorts of diversity, and in those days, I think in the early days of your teaching career, if I can speak to those days, being that I wasn't a teacher, but I imagine that things were a little simpler and that, you had parents that were more involved in those days with the teachers and the school itself. Do you think that's true?
Yes, it is. Yes, to a degree, for sure. I actually have, like you said, history, if we can call it that, over 30 years of teaching, for sure. I've taught in a few different areas within Ontario, including some, little more urban centers, but as well out in the country schools outside of London. So my first experience was, yes, in sort of a more rural environment. Being able to be very close with a lot of the parents and the community was wonderful, and probably did have a different sort of lens that we could look through then than we do now.
Yeah,
for sure.
For sure. So now that kids honestly spend the majority of their waking hours at school, I think it's even more important to allow them to get a teacher a gift if they choose.
Right. Yes. Well, it's interesting. It is a lovely way for a child and their family to show their appreciation. But, just going on record, and I think I speak for most teachers, is it totally not necessary. We are, and I, for me at least, I know that my biggest gift truly is that these kids are moving along, that they're progressing, that we're seeing some learning take place. Do they appreciate us? Yes. And, working in primary classrooms, you really see the awe in their eyes, the joy in their eyes when they can walk up to you with their little gift in their hand and please open it. They want to stand there until you open it right in front of them. So, definitely a lovely way for them to express their appreciation, for sure.
Yeah, well, we used to have a rule in our house. If it couldn't be eaten or didn't die in a week, we wouldn't give it to a teacher. And that was because I can just imagine if you're a teacher, you've got 20-something students in your class and everybody gets you a gift. I mean, you've got this pile of things. And so we figured that, flowers would die in a week and cookies could be eaten. So we'd often give food. But over the years, I've noticed that some teachers don't want food in the classroom necessarily, that there's a logistics problem with flowers. And even again, if you had 20 students all giving you flowers, what would you do with them? You'd have to open a flower shop.
Exactly. So. Yeah. I think over the years, I appreciated every single thing. And I've always written notes to the parents, to the students, afterwards, handwritten notes, which I made sure that got into their little hands. But over the years, I think what I've learned to appreciate more than anything is something very simple. And those are the things actually that I keep, really keep. I think I was mentioning to you before too about, the ornaments because of this time of year. My first year teaching, I taught a grade 1 class, and I still have, and I'm, dating myself here, over 30 years ago, I still have 2 ornaments that these 2 little girls made me, and every Christmas they get put up on the tree, and it is such a lovely thing to turn, because they wrote on the back of them, and to see their little grade 1 handwriting, love Jenna, it's just, it's such a joy for me, and it brings back, some really incredible memories too. That was, those type of gifts are always welcome. Anything that's made with a child's hand. I always, if parents are a little worried about what do I buy? Truthfully, a lot of us really appreciate the handwritten cards and the little crafts or little things they make because we know that it comes from them and that they took the time to really think about that.
That's so sweet. Well, in the end, after I decided not to do things that die or things that could be eaten, we changed our tactics and went towards books, because I understand that some teachers have a collection of books that they take with them from class to class, even if they change classrooms or schools. And also the library always appreciates a book, and we actually had labels printed up that were available at the office at the school that said this book is dedicated to the library on behalf of the such and such a family for their teacher, Mrs. Smith.
I love that. To be really honest, I think it's one of the best things you can do to, either make a donation in the teacher's name, or the school's name, to donate a book to the library, to, even donate games that you aren't using anymore or something to the maker space in the library. There are so many incredible things that we really appreciate, because as we know, the schools are always in need. And, I think when my children got a little older, and you might be able to relate to this, too, Brenda, is I walked to that office with my massive bin of Lego. Yay! I loved it while they were making it, but my kids got older. They kept what they wanted, and that massive bin was donated. And, to this day, it was such a large amount of Lego. I still see pieces of it, being used in different classrooms. It got divvied up. But yeah, something like that even, even if you have something that you feel, the teacher, that's important to the teacher, perhaps the teacher is a lover of nature or animals. One year I received a charitable donation in my name to the World Wildlife Fund.
Nice.
All those kinds of things, really do, they speak volumes. They really do. And I think we all really appreciate that someone's thought about that for us.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's really nice to get the "You're the world's best teacher" mug. But if you could take that, it used to be $5. Now they're more like 10 or 12. And if you take that money and donate it to a cause, one year we actually, we had a real go-getter mom. And she was just, the kind of person who's always like, yeah, let's have a phone tree. We're all like, chill out, lady. But anyway, she was great. And I loved her to death. But she organized everyone to give the money that they would normally give on a teacher's gift. And she did buy the "You're the best teacher," but inside that she had a scroll, and the scroll inside the mug was that we as a class sponsored an animal at the zoo for the year.
Oh, wonderful.
So the classroom owned a cheetah.
Oh, there you go. And you could keep track of that. A lot of educational things to do with that.
And at the time, the zoo had a plaque, and they gave us a plaque, and they put a plaque at the zoo itself that said that, this classroom or that this teacher had adopted this animal. And we chose a cheetah because it had to be something that the boys would like and the girls would like.
It could be somewhat cuddly.
Yeah. The boys weren't really into the meerkat.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I think that, as much as it's a gift, it also leaves an impression on the children, that your money can go towards something bigger than a material item. And just as an example, every year, because this was something I really thought about during the holidays, particularly because, not everyone celebrates just Christmas, but the holiday season is important to everyone. It's usually a season of giving and kindness and that sort of thing. So what we started doing around the holiday season was we created these gifts of kindness. And basically each child would write something special to another child in the class or the teacher. That it was a gift that they wrote, and they could create a beautiful note and just say, I appreciate you because you're a wonderful friend, or you helped me build that tower, or you stood up for me, against that bully outside. So, and then that child gets to take all these little notes home with them, and it's just such a nice little gift. And I got some too. So,
oh, that's so nice.
Yeah. So just something that doesn't always have to be, gifts can look different. Right? They don't always have to be wrapped up and have a bow on top, right? So
right. And there's a lot of families right now that are really struggling to make ends meet, and to put on that family the pressure. They see other kids in the class giving really beautiful gifts, and they want to give something that they think is of the same value, and the family may not be able to afford that this year.
That's right. Absolutely. And I think that's another little element of the gift process too, is to, just to ensure that the kids feel like they don't have to. And, you don't have to always just say that outright or send a note, but it can be said in lots of ways, and to encourage them to, donate. And I mean, we always have toy drives in the school, and things where we look at giving in different ways. And I think as teachers, we try to do that. And like I said, none of us expect anything around this time, but we do know how important it is for some families to give back. And those families can give back in lots of ways as well. It doesn't always have to be monetary or a gift. There are some parents who give of their time. And
Exactly.
we so appreciate that, right?
Yes, well, isn't that the most precious gift of all, is giving of yourself?
Oh, absolutely. And especially, I'm fortunate now that I'm not, in the classroom at this time, because I do know just how difficult it's been the last couple of years with teacher shortages and, supply teacher shortages and that sort of thing. So we've just been, I know that there's such a wonderful feeling when you see a parent who can come in, read with a child, or help out in the classroom a little bit. It's been lovely.
Mm-hmm. Especially for those students who actually need that one-on-one time. They don't function well in a group, and they
Yes.
really benefit from having someone just sit and read with them, like you said, or even chat with them.
Absolutely. Yep.
Give
Absolutely.
them that downtime.
Yes, for sure.
Well, those are some great ideas. Thanks for joining us, Angela, and thanks for talking with us today. We really appreciate your time, and we appreciate your perspective as a teacher, because it's really hard sometimes for a parent to say, now, what would that teacher like, and how many soap on a ropes are they actually going to get this year?
Oh, soap on a rope. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Remember
No,
soap on a rope?
I 100%. I'm very, very, glad you asked me to have a little chat with you. It's been so lovely. Thank you. And, happy holidays to everyone out there, and take care of each other.
Yeah, happy holidays to you as well. Thanks for joining us today on Freshwaves. Well, that's it for Freshwaves today. I'm your host, Bren Masson. If you'd like to hear this show or any other shows, go to our YouTube channel, Freshwaves Radio. Hit subscribe. We love to have subscribers. We at Freshwaves, Jason Rumball and I, wish you a very Merry Christmas, a happy holiday season, and all the health and happiness for the coming new year. We'll be back again next week on Freshwaves.